So, can you tell me a little bit about Keith Moon?
Ah, Mooney. He was great. He was a great friend. We had a lot of fun together. I mean, we had
How,
a drag race in London, going back to his place in Chertsey, and I was in my Daytona, and he was had Dougal was the driver in the 6.3. Oh, we had a lot
your
of fun
Daytona,
after hours. All right.
Ferrari?
Yeah, I had my Ferrari, and Keith had a bunch of cars. He had some hot rods and stuff at his place, but he couldn't drive any of them. He didn't have a license, but he drove them all around the grounds. I mean, the AC Cobra went over the fence, and I mean, it's a lot of fun. He had a Model T racer, had a big engine in it, and it would jump off the ground. But we had a lot of fun. He called me up and said, "Come on over, let's hang." We never got to play together because he could not play 2/4. He couldn't do that. You know, I was first chair drummer in school. He couldn't. He couldn't do that, but he could do all his Keith Moon stuff. And I remember one thing that I love. He told me one day, just out of the blue, about how he got his gig. He said he went to hear them, and then said, called the drummer down after the thing. He said, I'm gonna have your gig, mate. You might as well leave." That's how he got the gig. Yeah.
Where did you meet Mooney?
I swear to God, I don't know where I met him. Just our lives converged. I had moved out of England and then back and then out and then back again. And the second time I moved back to England, somebody, I don't even remember who it was, connected. Might have been my driver, Dave Long. The guy used to run me around all the time. Mm-hmm. But that might have been who did it. But anyway, Keith, I said, "I'm looking for a house." And he said, "I got a bunch of houses." And so he took me into London, and he showed me this place that had a moat around it. And I had the Daytona, so I didn't want to be stuck in London with a 12-cylinder, 6-dual Weber 5-speed monster of a car. You know, I wanted to be somewhere I could stretch out. And she said, "Well, I got another house out on the Thames, and it's called Roundhouse. And it was 4 round rooms with round windows, and and it was on the Thames, and it was it was really cool place, all right. And I stayed there for quite some time. While I got my place in Ascot, I had to have it all refurbished and everything. And so while all that was being done, but he had a outboard, inboard cruiser, one of those really beautiful wooden Chris Craft. And he said, "All I want you to do," he said, "just come down here every other day and see this switch on here that runs the bilge. I just want you to flip that up." He called it the Mayflower. It was one of those beautiful mahogany Chris Crafts, a very expensive boat, to be sure. And so I would go down there. I never took it out. I would go down there and drink champagne, and how do you do to the folks that were rowing past or in their thing they really do that, on the weekend and on Sundays, and then ladies and all, they're finding the guys doing this, Well, I'm sitting there drinking Dom Perignon, whistling, and how you doing, having a cigarette and a smoke and all. Well, a couple of times I forgot about Mayflower flipping on the switch. A little water started to collect in there. I remember telling myself, "Now don't forget to do this." And that was the last I remember about talking to myself about the Mayflower. So I knew I must have been had to backtrack, and so I'm going down the steps, and all I could see was a real tight rope like this. And I looked at the end of the rope; it was just stretched. The boat was gone, and I was looking at the end of and I could see the very the brass thing that it held on the Mayflower was down in the Thames.
You
You know,
sunk the Mayflower. You sunk the Mayflower.
I sunk the Mayflower.
Was he upset with you?
No, hell no, he wasn't upset about
Oh
it.
my goodness. What was the craziest time you ever had with Keith Moon? Do you remember?
No, they all were.
Can you remember
They all
one?
were.
You have a memorable one?
Well, there was a time we thought our girlfriends, his wife and my girlfriend Paula were running around on us, and somebody told me that they were going to be with these two guys in London having dinner, and all this. Nobody knew about it, but one of my guys told me about it. I said, well, Mooney probably needs to know this, you know. So I said, hey, man, blah, blah, blah. Our gals are downtown tonight, so I've been told. He said, really? He said, come on over. And so, because I live just down the road from him. And I'm there lickety-split. And he was getting all dressed up. And he had a Nazi officer's outfit on, complete with a Tommy submachine gun with a clip that's like that. Real, but it didn't have a firing pin.
Jeez.
And he gave me a jacket, threw me a jacket, a Boverboy coat. And he said, we're going to pay him a little visit at the dinner table. So Dougal backed up the rows. We hopped in. Mooney's got the complete officer's,
Oh my God.
you know, the cork and all the business, you know, leather boots. And I got the Boverboy coat all unzipped and everything. I don't know what the hell he's got in mind. But he just wanted to throw a scare into him. And he had the submachine gun in his right hand like this. And so we get out this swank underground restaurant in London. And Mooney walks in and he's and pulled a gun on these guys. A machine gun on everybody. Gene and Marty were all, turns out, you know, they were gay. Oh, anyway, I couldn't get in on it. I had to let him handle that one by himself. I watched that go down. I think that was the night we had a drag race going back home.
Something. I think I saw some kind of photograph in a newspaper with him in that garb.
Yeah.
It was in the papers.
I had that zip-up jacket for years and years, and then someone found a distaste to me in my collection of clothes, managed to cut it up.
Oh, nice.
But that's just another story.
Well, when Mooney passed away, how did you feel about that?
I wasn't surprised at all.
Yeah.
All of my friends, there's only a few of us still around. You know, Cropper's still around.
He was pretty wild.
But Mooney, you know, went down. But he was running around with lots of blow in his pocket, and you know, he was led a life of excess. I couldn't keep up with him, that's for sure.
Yeah.
You know, but we had a lot of great fun, great laughs. I had some tragedies happen while I was there, and at one point it was like it seemed like everybody had turned their back on me. Not Mooney. He was right there for me to see me through all my trials and tribulations. You know. And when I left, it was good. It was good. You know, we were friends when I left, and then I didn't see him for years and years, and then he passed away.